It's party time. Rip it hard, rip it hard, rip it hard, boogie all night long. Yeah, gonna rip it hard, rip it hard, rip it hard, boogie all night long. Well, it's hard in the morning heading out that door, especially when you're boogieing all the night before. I keep my eye on the clock when I'm towing that line, and I get a big grin when it's quitting time. Gonna rip it hard, rip it hard, rip it hard, boogie all night long. Yeah, gonna rip it hard, rip it hard, rip it hard, boogie all night long.
evening. Welcome to RLM TV and tonight's presentation of the TT Racing League Pepsi Grand National Series season finale live from Talladega Superspeedway. I'm Darryl Morley. Alongside me is my good buddy Neil Armstrong, and we're here to bring you all the action of tonight's race. And tonight, Neil, we spell the score. Tonight, we name a champion.
Yeah, thanks, Darryl. You're exactly right. We crowned a champion tonight, and the points battle was ever so close too. I'll tell you what, these guys, a bunch of good drivers here. Peter Fox there, second in points, 15 points behind our leader Wade Meidinger, currently first. Dwayne Parker third, 32 points behind Meidinger, and Meidinger's brother Wade down there in fourth, 55 points. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like Jason Cox, our fifth place in points this year, but he's only 62 behind. So top five definitely got a chance to win this championship here tonight.
Well, they certainly do, as Wayne Meidinger would be looking to take home the championship. Of course, you mentioned Peter Fox, Dwayne Parker, and then Wade, and then Jason Cox, and Bill Witt. Believe it or not, Bill Witt still has a mathematical chance, although once the green flag flies, I think Bill Witt will be mathematically eliminated from contention for this championship. Before we get into things, I want to let you know that tonight's race is brought to you by TT Racing League and TTRacingLeague.com. And, of course, by Race LM, because the leagues that know to use Race LM. This being the Pepsi Grand National Series, they have their own set of rules, their own set of, basically guidelines for the playground. And the playground here happens to be the racetrack, and tonight's playground is 2.66 miles long. It is the longest oval in all of NASCAR. Not the longest oval in the sim racing world, the longest oval in all of NASCAR. Emilio, you know what the longest oval in the sim racing world is, and let's be thankful we're not there.
Well, I don't know. It depends on if you're talking about that Joe Gibbs Speedway. I think that's like a 7-mile track. We ran that last Saturday night. Matter of fact, here at TT Racing and RLM TV in the Saturday Night Thunder Series. That's a pretty long track.
It's one of those tracks, take a nap, turn left, take a nap, turn left. That's pretty much the track I was talking about, as a matter of fact. Here's the way it all has shaken down so far this season. Wade Dinger has the most top fives, but Jason Cox has 4 wins on the season. Jason Cox with 4 wins on the season. Wayne Dinger has 10 top 10s. As far as pole positions, well, Jason Cox has owned the pole positions, and he has the highest average finishing position. The average starting position has belonged to Mr. Westerfield. Jason Cox has gained the most average points. However, it should be mentioned that Jason is not in contention for the championship. Jason has left the Pepsi Grand National Series. And DNFs, well, we finally find somewhere that Neil Armstrong shows up on the list. Neil, you got 3 DNFs on the season. What happened, buddy?
Well, unfortunately, I don't run over here for points, and usually whenever the car's got a little bit of damage, I just kind of just get off the racetrack, get out of the other guy's way, just being respectful.
Before we go racing, let's give you a real quick history of the Pepsi Grand National Series. They started racing in November of 2003 and are approaching their 6th year of organized sim racing. Don Johnson is the only current driver on the roster who has been there since day one, besides the admin, Bill Witt. Drivers still mathematically alive. We talked about them. Also, the 2 Meidingers and Peter Fox, our teammates, watch for them to be hooking up at some point here tonight. And 17-year-old Will Witt is involved in this deal. He's a past TT Racing winner. And they also want to let people know that their winter season begins October 9th, and they are currently taking applications at their websites. And that's plural websites, by the way. TTRacingLeague.com and TTGrandNational.com, as their winter season gets set to fire up on October 9th, and that is not too far in the distance here. We're going to go ahead and let you know who's going to start where. Here now is your starting lineup. Starting on the pole, the number 53 of Bill Witt, and outside the front row, the number 234 of Rusty Grant.
Our points leader, number 72, Wayne Mydigger, starts in the third spot. Outside of him, Dwayne Parker in that 02.
Bryce Drahim sits in the fifth spot in the number 46 machine, and Doug Sigmund, the number 6, will start sixth.
Another Mydigger lines up inside row number 4. That's Wade in that 74 car, and Mr. Wayne Settle himself lines up in the 8th spot.
Jay Adair will be inside of row number 5 and outside row 5. The number 23, a points contender, it's Peter Fox. We'll finish the starting lineup in just a second. Let's head down trackside for the command.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
John Freeman will line up inside row number 6 in the 11th spot in the 57th machine. Outside of him, one of the Larkin guys, and the only Larkin here tonight, Ron Larkin Sr. in the 016 car.
Don Johnson, Will Witt, and the number 48 machine, I believe that's Bill Preston, but we'll have to double check. Might be Bob Preston. Either way, Preston, it's Bob Preston as a matter of fact, will be coming from the back of the pack. But here, plenty of room to race side by side, 3 wide, and even 4 wide should they choose to with these Grand National machines. A little bit less horsepower than you're used to seeing with, say, for example, the Cup Series or the COT Series. These Grand National cars have a little bit less horsepower, a little bit more stable. Should be a lot of fun to watch the action here tonight. By the way, want to say a big hello to our 11th place starter, John Freeman, who has physical world stock car experience and is currently, by the way, looking for a 2009 ride in a physical stock car. And perhaps tonight, he can show his patience, he can show his skill, he can show his steadiness of the wheel, as all of those items do transfer over to the physical racing world, and perhaps he can also show his quiet aggression.
Yeah, we'll speak a little more of him later, Darrell. I'm sure we'll have plenty of time. But I'll tell you what, this is going to be a great race. Like I said earlier, I actually race here with these guys, a great bunch of guys, really laid back on the rules. There are rules for the racing, but, you know, they're really laid back on them, and really all you got to do is just kick back and race.
And they're all about having fun. They're all about enjoying themselves out there on the racetrack. Pace car pulls in. We're getting set to go green flag racing here in this one. Should be exciting as this field of cars get set for the drop of the green flag. The first of 57 laps upcoming here from Talladega Super Speedway, and they'll work their way down through the tri-oval here, the start-finish line just beyond the tri-oval section. They'll get them ready, hammer them down as the green flag flies. We are underway. Rusty Grant will lead them across the line for the first time in the Mountain Dew sponsored entry. Grant will look to potentially get down to the inside line. However, this is a TR track, and with it being a TR track, the outside line is actually the preferred groove. We're not going to have to deal with bottom feeders. We'll have to deal with penthouse dwellers tonight.
Yeah, that start right there might have been just a tad bit questionable. Looked like the 234 was actually ahead of our pole sitter at the drop of the green flag, and we all know that's a no-no, Darrell.
It is indeed a no-no, and we'll have to wait and see if there is a penalty levied by the software against Rusty Grant, although I think Rusty's trying to do what he can to give the spot back and try to clear any potential penalties here in this one. We'll have to wait and see what the software deems and what the officials deem here in this one. It's going to be Bill Witt leading him across the line this time, and then Mettinger sits in second. Draheim sits in third. Fourth is Rusty Grant, although Rusty in that top line dropping back a little bit more.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Darrell, I ran out some practice with these guys, and I'll tell you what, the setup that they got up under these guys is real sluggish. You got to have some drafting help. If you pull out of the draft without any help, I'll tell you what, you're going to lose about 200 to 300 RPM and definitely going to drop straight to the back.
So important to keep that speed up, keep that momentum up here, and once you get those machines wound up, keep them going. As we're seeing the low line a little bit more effective than the high line, and that's sort of surprising with this being a TR track or a Tally Rally track, as usually the high line is the preferred groove on these racetracks, but after all, this is Talladega, and these drivers have decided that at least right now in the early going, as we're working lap number 3, the low line is the preferred line, as Bill Witt continues to be the Pied Piper.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's really fitting, Darrell, to see that number 53, Fastenal Dodge, out in the lead. You know, Bill's the Pepsi Grand National Series admin, so, you know, just real good to see that guy out in the lead, and good to see him have the pole, too. Like you said at the beginning, you know, he's not able to gain that 100 points and try to contend for this championship, but, you know, if he was, he's definitely doing what he's got to do it. I said a lot of do's there, didn't I?
Indeed, you did say a lot of do's there, my friend. You are the do-doer. Or dinner, because you did do the do's, and now you're not doing the do's anymore. So apparently the do's are over. By the way, you didn't pay your dues yet, so go figure. Bill Witt continues to lead. Meidinger sits in second spot. Draheim sits in third. Wade Meidinger sits in fourth. Fifth is Jay Adair. Sixth is Peter Fox. Seventh is Ron Larkin Sr., followed by John Freeman, Wayne Settle, then Rusty Grant, who continues to drop through the field. Dwayne Parker, Will Witt, Doug Simpson, Bob Preston, and Don Johnson, who has lost contact with the draft. And sadly for Don, without a yellow flag, he will be going a lap down in the next 20 laps or so.
Yeah, tough break to Don. Don's been here at the PGN Series since its inception 6 years ago, and I'll tell you what, Don's a class act driver out there on the track. Hopefully, I don't want to see a yellow flag, but that's the only thing that's going to get him caught back up to the field, like you said.
Well, it certainly is, and we hope it goes green flag all the way, but then again, we're not Don Johnson. As a matter of fact, there's the yellow. Yellow flag will fly. There's a car facing the wrong direction on the backstretch, and that's usually not a good sign, especially when it's surrounded by smoke. As the car facing the wrong direction was none other than Wayne Settle, the number 20 machine, and you got to wonder if Wayne just had a little bit of help to go around there, and in fact, he did. Came up across the hood of another vehicle, turned itself around, and around went Wayne Settle, and somehow he was the only one involved in that incident. And one of the things that you'll notice when you do get another look at that is Wayne locked the tires down, locked those brakes down, more than likely flattened probably all four of them. But more importantly, I don't know and I don't believe that he would have backspun that motor with the brakes locked down the way they were.
Yeah, he did an awesome job there. Looking back through the replay, like you said, it looks as though he was actually checking up for the car ahead of him, which is Ron Larkin Sr., and unfortunately, it's like when he checked up, he kind of veered to the left, and when he came back to the right, the 02 Dwayne Parker unfortunately got to this right rear quarter panel. Anyway, he didn't hit the wall too hard. I'll tell you what, there's a ton of smoke still left on that backstretch.
There certainly is, and one of the neat things about this racetrack, you'll see it as they enter turn number 3 from time to time. It's there every single lap, but you won't notice it every single time. I do, because one of the things that I've always taken as one of my visual cues are the rust stains that come down the racetrack from the drainage inside the wall. There's the drainage inside the wall in turn number 3, and the rust stains from the metal rusting inside those drainage compartments. Traveling right down the racetrack, and it sort of gives you a neat little visual cue. That, of course, is gone now because they have repaved Talladega Superspeedway. Not the case with this version of Talladega. Again, with the sim racing world, one of the advantages we have is we can race any track from any era. You can't do that in the physical racing world. Heck, we can go out and race North Wilkesboro tomorrow if we want to.
Man, I miss that place. I remember racing that back in the NASCAR 3 days, Darrell, and it sure was a fun track.
Indeed it was. Pit stops taking place here in this one. Rusty Grant staying out, as is Doug Simpson. Bill Witt will lead them down onto pit road. Everybody else coming down pit road. It looks like fuel only for Bill Witt. Not a bad move, as this track not known for chewing up tires. One guy that will need tires, well, that's Wayne Settle. He chewed those tires up in the spin, but everybody else will be fine with the tires they started the race on. We're going to have less than 50 to go when we go back to green flag racing. This race amounts to basically a sprint race here tonight.
Yeah, and a good sprint race it should be once we get back on the green. Not real sure how many laps these guys can go under yellow. Go on fuel under green. I want to say it's in between 20 and 25, as they don't run the 13-gallon fuel cell. They actually have a 22-gallon fuel cell in these Busch Series cars. So I'll have to get some confirmation on that, Daryl.
All right, so Neil will do his best to check in on that one, as we are under our first yellow for a Wayne Settle spin around the backstretch, and looked like Wayne kind of jumped to the inside and then tried to get back in line and came right across the nose of the 0-2 machine of Dwayne Parker, and Dwayne Parker knew where he could go, and he wasn't going to get himself out of the line just to let Wayne Settle back in the line. After all, you go doing that, well, you find yourself at the back of the pack. As Dwayne Parker right now running in the 12th position. Wayne Settle is in 14th. Don Johnson is in 15th. Your running order the way they sit: Rusty Grant, Doug Sigmund, and then Bill Witt. Both Meitingers, Wayne and Wade, and then Peter Fox. Good grief, the three teammates, Neil. They're a nose to tail.
Yeah, like I said earlier, you got to have some help here, and what better help is having two other teammates out there to help you. That's two guys that you can actually count on coming, unless it's a white flag lap. When it's a white flag lap, you throw the teammates out the window.
The credo of the wingman in NASCAR 2003, NASCAR Racing 2003 season, the fantastic software from Papyrus Game Development, a company that sadly no longer exists. The credo has long been for the wingman: I'm there for you until the white flag flies. When the white flag flies, what's your name again?
Who? I am getting confirmation, Daryl. These guys can go 28 to 30 laps on a tank of fuel, so we'll have that. And I did notice during practice that like I said, the tire wear is not that bad, but it did seem like it was wearing the left front a little bit. Maybe it just might have been my driving style. Right side tire is definitely not an issue. So you see these guys make green flag pit stops. Probably going to see some of them take left side tires instead of right.
You know what? That works out just fine here at a racetrack like this, because the left side tires, if you have to change just two tires, the quickest two tires to change, obviously, are the left side tires. Reason for that? Well, when you pull into your pit stall, you can pull a little bit to the right more than you would normally, and your crew does not have to run around the car to get the servicing done. They just hop over the wall, and the left side tires are right there. Makes it a lot easier, and they can pack a little bit more fuel in when the left side of the car is up in the air.
Yeah, most definitely. Anytime you can get a quicker pit stop, whatever you have to do to shave off a half a second or even 3/4 of a second in the pits, it's definitely counts or equivalent to a bunch of positions on the track. So no mistakes on pit road on the green.
Or under yellow, for that matter. Under green, you're going to lose a lot of ground. Under yellow, you're going to lose a lot of positions. We often say that 1st and 14th are one stuck lug nut away.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I'll tell you what, it looks like our 11th place qualifier, that 57 car, John Freeman. He's got himself up there in the top 5 already after having a good pit stop. I'm sitting here looking at his website, Daryl, and pretty impressive here. Last race that Mr. Freeman was in was the Moroso Motorsports Park 24 Hours of America. It was a karting event, and hey man, he two driver team took home the checkered flag there. So pretty impressive this kid is.
He's an impressive young man, and he's also a very talented racer. Not a big kid either, and that's important in the racing world, that they're looking for smaller, lighter drivers. Now, obviously, that's a huge advantage when you're going kart racing. To be 5'9" and 160 pounds, it's a huge advantage in karting. It's also an advantage in stock car racing. The reason for that is NASCAR, or any type of stock car racing, dictates a certain amount of weight in the vehicle. However, where you place that weight is oftentimes, to a certain extent, up to the crew. A lighter driver gives the crew more options on where to put that weight. Now, they may decide to put that weight right back on the left side, but they might want to put it over the left rear, over the left front, or centered in the car rather than right where the driver sits. So, having a guy like John Freeman, who's not large in stature but big on talent, well, it's a fantastic advantage for these crews out there.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Compared to, say, a Michael Waltrip, I believe Michael's over 6'2", and he definitely would be a lot of difference there between these two guys and where they place the weight in the car.
Well, they talk about North Carolina being the hotbed of racing here in the area. In the 2004 Red Bull driver search, that young man was first place in North Carolina. So that'll tell you what kind of talent you're talking about when you're talking about John Freeman. And John's got himself in a perfect position. He's behind Witt, then he's got Wayne Menninger and Peter Fox ahead of him, and right there sits John Freeman, top 5 position. He's got the youngster Will Witt behind him. I think he's in a real good spot. He may be one of the guys to keep an eye on as far as the race win before the end of this one is all said and done. We're getting set to drop the green flag. As a matter of fact, there it is. Green flag flies, and we are underway once again from Talladega Superspeedway, or as we say, Takalaka Super Speedway.
Now we'll have to see if that 63 car, Don Johnson here, can get up to speed and keep up with this pack, as he lost the draft earlier, and he was one guy on the track, and the only guy on the track, hoping to see that yellow flag come out. And I'll tell you what, as soon as we started talking about it, it did, so maybe I just need to hush.
You see the long black mark that Wayne Settle left on his excursion as they approach those rusty spots on the racetrack that I love so much. And that's one of the things I was most upset about in the repaved version of Talladega. My rust spots were gone, man.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they're not going to come back for a while as the track is so dark. Well, you might be able to see them. Give it maybe 5 more years, and you'll see them back there.
I believe you will, as the asphalt will start to fade, and of course those rust marks are there. You just can't see them through the pavement, through the darker colored pavement at the racetrack. Well, it might show up as lighter colored marks on the racetrack. That would be kind of neat looking, to say the least, as well, because the rust is a little bit lighter than that dark black pavement at Talladega. A lot of racetracks lately have been talking about repaving. One of those is the one near me. The brand new owner of New Hampshire Motor Speedway, Mr. Bruton Smith, has talked about potentially repaving and reworking the banking at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, his latest acquisition, or one of his latest acquisitions, we should say, as he has been on a racetrack buying spree.
Yeah, I tell you what, Bruton's definitely trying to take over ownership of all the track, it seems. I'll tell you what, Daryl, we got some racing action here on the track. The 02 Dwayne Parker just made up 2 positions in about a half a lap. Put him up in the 5th spot as he just passed the 46 of Bryce Draham going down into turn 1. So I'll tell you what, he's one guy that's moving up through the field. Oh, a little bit of trouble on the track. 46 hard into the outside wall. Collects the 20 car. The 99. 3, 4, 5 cars involved. It's like the 72 away. I must say, Darryl, I'll give you permission. You can call it the dingers or my dingers. You can just say dingers, as that's what we call them here around TT. But it looks like Dinger's going to make it through. It's like the 6 of Doug Sigmund. He's also going to make it through. It's like Wayne
Tough
Settle
incident right there for those involved.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm trying to go back and look on my replay at exactly what happened. And it all started with the 46 car, I believe. As they were coming down the backstretch, he kind of veered down on the car that was beside him and realized he was there and took evasive action and might have got a little bit of help from behind. I can't get the number. It might have been the 99 car of Jay Adair. That's going to be in the evening for the 20 of Wayne Soto as this car was puffing black smoke there. Well, Dale, that was, we got 15 cars in this race. About 5 cars were involved in that action. That could be almost equivalent to the big one.
Yeah, very well could. Taking in the size of this field, that very well could be considered the big one.
As these guys, they're running, looks appear to be realistic damage. Definitely going to have some damaged race cars here.
Yeah, we're certainly going to have some damaged race cars out on the racetrack. And one of the things to watch out for is obviously you start bending up the sheet metal at a place like Talladega, and you might as well just attach a parachute to your car.
Yeah, most definitely. Anytime you come to these super speedways and you start crumpling up those fenders, man, the aerodynamics at these places are very crucial, and you don't want to be beating up those fenders. Definitely costs you some aerodynamic disadvantage.
Yeah, most definitely. And by the way, you mentioned Dinger, and that reminds me of one of my buddies, A.J. Allmendinger. And unfortunately, A.J. Allmendinger has been removed or will be removed from the 84 machine as he'll be losing his ride. However, he may be able to pick up a ride for 2009. Not quite sure, but there are people talking about Chip Ganassi Racing, perhaps.
Well, it might be a good place for him to go. I know AJ's an awesome racer, got a lot of talent, comes from the open wheel cars, and still trying to get used to these, the defenders on the cars, these stock cars. They're a handful to drive compared to those open wheel cars, but he's still got a long career ahead of him. He's young, and just needs somebody really just to give him a chance to stick by him, not put him in a car for a couple of years and say, hey, well, you're not living up to my expectations, we're going to let you go.
Well, what it came down to, unfortunately, was the Red Bull sponsorship is a big fan of Scott Speed. And Scott Speed was looking to get back into a Cup car, and Red Bull said, hey, we have 2 Cup cars. We'll give you one of ours.
Well, yeah, I was going to add that, but, a lot of times these days, almost the sponsors have almost more say than the team owner does about who gets in that car, and, they're rightfully so. They supply the millions of dollars it takes for these cars to go out here and compete in a 36 or not sure how many races the Busch Series. I think they're 32 races in a season. So, they're going to supply millions of dollars for these guys to go out and do what they like to do and have fun doing it. I guess they're going to have a little more say-so than maybe the team owner would have.
Our producer, Brian Michael, reminding us of the connection with Scott Speed and Red Bull. They've got millions of dollars into the development of Scott Speed, and it's an investment that they would like to see pay out. Now, he's been over in F1, and they said, hey, Scott, do us a favor, don't come back to Formula One, okay? He has been in various open-wheel racing circuits around the world, and he has now come back over to the United States to race with full-bodied stock cars. Now, I've seen him in an ARCA car. He looked halfway decent in the ARCA car. I think I saw him in a truck at one point as well. Again, looked halfway decent. I don't know if the move to Scott Speed from A.J. Allmendinger is going to produce better results than A.J. was able to produce in the 84 machine. I think that A.J. Allmendinger is a more talented driver than Scott Speed. That's not a knock against Scott by any stretch of the imagination. I'll tell you right now, Scott Speed has 2,000 times the ability that I have to race one of these machines, but I think A.J. Allmendinger has a little bit more than Scott Speed does. Now, time will tell if I'm right or wrong, but, either way, it's completely irrelevant, because the fact is next year it's going to be Scott Speed behind the wheel of the 84 machine and not A.J. Allmendinger. And hopefully A.J. Allmendinger will be behind the wheel of a good car. I don't want to see A.J. behind the wheel of a lackluster performing car or another car that needs to race its way back into every single event with a crew that doesn't know how to set the car up and doesn't know how to get the car ready to race into every single event. It was a rough situation for AJ, the situation that he stepped into the last 2 years in the Sprint Cup Series, and unfortunately it's going to end with him being removed from the ride. That does not mean that A.J. Allmendinger is going to go away and just curl up and die. A.J. is a fighter. He's a survivor. He's a champion in the truest sense of the word. And I believe you will see A.J. Allmendinger in the next 4 years, not only in the Sprint Cup Series, but competing for the Sprint Cup as part of the chase.
Well, that sure would be a cool thing to see. You know, I noticed the first half of the year there, he really was still trying to get a grip on those COT cars, and then I believe they brought Mike Skinner in to run a few races and give his feedback to AJ. And it seems like ever since then, AJ's been running good, not really having the finishes he's looking for, but you got to learn how to drive these cars first and learn how to control them before you're going to get the finishes.
Well, the majority of what Mike Skinner was doing was trying to help this crew get qualified into the field. That was his main priority. If you look at Skinner's finishes, his finishes weren't much better than A.J. Allmendinger. In fact, the best finish in that number 84 machine came at, I believe, Kentucky or Kansas, with A.J. Allmendinger behind the wheel. So go figure there. And again, A.J. showed his level of maturity when they went to AJ and they said, look, we're going to pull you out of the car for a few weeks. We're going to put Mike Skinner in the car because he has more experience. AJ, rather than pouting and putting his tail between his legs and having a hissy fit like some drivers would have done, instead, AJ Allmendinger said, you know what? This is a good opportunity, not only for me, but for the crew. And he focused on learning everything he could from a veteran, from a guy that has been where he wants to be. And we've often said, if you want to do something in life, if there is someone else that has been there and is willing to show you the path, follow them.
Well, the one advantage you have over all the broadcasters in the sim world and the real racing world, I believe you've interviewed AJ in Victory Lane in a sim racing event. I hope I'm right.
And it wasn't Victory Lane, but I have talked to A.J. Allmendinger, and same event, we also talked to Dale Earnhardt Jr., by the way, an event that Allmendinger beat Dale Earnhardt Jr. Green flag flyers, we are back underway here in this one. Wade Meidinger sits in the top spot. Peter Fox sits in second spot. John Freeman is third. And by the way, just to put a cap on that whole A.J. Allmendinger thing, you will not find a guy with a better sense of humor or a better personality, in my opinion, than A.J. Allmendinger. I will go to the ends of the earth to watch A.J. Allmendinger race because he's that good of a guy and he's that good of a racer.
Well, I'm sure he is, but right now the actions we need to focus on these TT racing guys is Meidinger, the 74 car, Wade in the first spot trying to hold off that 23 of Peter Fox. Takes a couple laps for these guys to get up to speed, Darrell, after a restart. These cars are geared so low that, it takes them a couple laps before they're actually up to speed.
Yeah, of course it does. You got to get those rubber bands wound up nice and tight here in this one as John Freeman drifts up the racetrack just a little bit, perhaps trying to get some fresh air into that motor, slips back down into the draft. And again, these drivers, when they're hugging the bottom, they're not, it's not the quickest way around necessarily, but if there's a bunch of them hugging the bottom, well, obviously, wherever the draft is, that's where you're going to want to go. Freeman actually clips the apron coming into the third turn and somehow keeps control of the machine. Nice job of driving by Freeman, but here comes Meidinger, depending on how you want to pronounce it, the number 72 machine. He'd like to get up there and run with his teammates if it's not too much trouble.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, both of those Dinger boys, they're brothers. They're both stout drivers, and anytime those two cars come to the track, and they're a threat to win. You'll see these cars moving around a little bit on the track, Daryl, and what that actually is, that's actually how it is out there on the track. You got all the dirty air these guys are behind, and it just kind of moves the cars around.
Oh, it certainly does. It pushes these machines around, and these machines are what we call aero-dependent. They depend on the air going over these machines to give them the qualities that they need. Without the air, if you were trying to race one of these machines in an absolute vacuum, you'd have a real hard time racing these machines, although I think the engineers would be tickled pink to find out they would be able to race in an absolute vacuum. You race in an absolute vacuum, that means there's no air. As Bob Preston retires from this one, no air means no draft. No draft means it doesn't matter how much you damage your machine because there's no drag. There's no problems as far as air. You can have a parachute on the back of your car and keep up with the guy whose car was shaped like a boat.
I'll tell you one thing, I know too, Dwayne Parker's definitely on the move. He's trying to get that outside work. It looked like John Freeman was going to work with him there, but as he did back to the low line, I think he kind of suckered him.
He may very well have suckered him in right there. As you can see the inside line and the outside line starting to equalize just a little bit, as now down to the inside line goes Wayne Mettinger. As Wayne jumps down to the inside line, one of the things that you and I noticed is this race, as opposed to most TT racing events, is relatively Larkin-free. There's only one Larkin out there, but he's still lurking.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing not to only see one Larkin on the track. I'll tell you what, he's the senior there. He's the cause of all these Larkins we see here on RLM. But I'll tell you what, that's one of the biggest sim racing families I've ever seen, and great bunch of guys. I race with all of them. I speak to all of them, and I'll tell you what, they're just class act family of racers right there.
Well, they certainly are a great group of drivers and some good people, too. And you know what they say, the family that races together, they usually argue about the result after the race. Either way, the Mettinger's trying to get hooked up nose to tail. Right now there's two cars between the two of them. One being a teammate, the other being an invading physical racer. And that, of course, is John Freeman. Freeman in unfriendly waters, to say the least.
Yeah, I believe Freeman may be making his first start here at TT Racing. I'm not sure. I was actually told before the race that he's made a few other starts, so maybe racing up under a different name. I just don't recognize him, but looks like he's doing a heck of a job out there on the track. Currently scored in the third spot, but he's got that 72 of Wayne Dinger right on his tail, trying to get up there and work with his brother, and that's two guys you definitely don't want to get hooked up together.
No, you certainly don't, as now we can see Don Johnson jumping out from the line. I'm not quite sure that's a wise move right now, with considering the position he's in and how far he had been back from this field not too long ago, but it looks like he's going to make it work. He's going to find his way around Will Witt, as Will will drop back one spot. He'll be tail end of this drafting pack. A guy that would like to see a caution flag, well, that's Bruce Rahim, as he's in the 11th spot, 32, almost 33 seconds back, and now in excess of 33 seconds back when the timing and scoring updates here in this one. And it looks as though this group of 9 are the only drivers that really have a shot at the race win. And for a lot of these drivers, the championship's out the window. They can't get it. It's already slipped through the window net on them. Now it's all about getting that last race win, and what better way to win than right here on RLM TV.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Anytime you win here on RLM TV, everybody sees it, and it really adds more realism to this sim we do. And I've won a couple of races here, and I'll tell you what, it's some of the most exciting moments I've ever had sim racing.
And you downloaded the archives, and you've got them all saved. You burned disc after disc after disc, sent them out to friends and family, people that didn't like you, former high school teachers, anybody that you had an address for, you sent them copies and said, see, you jerk, told you I'd do something cool with my life.
Yeah, they're 3 wide right now for the 8th, 6th, 7th, and 8th position. as they finally get too wide coming out of the corner. Tell you what, that was a kind of a scary moment right there.
And look way up on the high side, the number 63 machine of Don Johnson. He'll drop down through the field, now down to the 9th spot, get back in line as quick as he possibly can. And before too long, you will see the number 46 come into frame as the 74 machine of Wayne Meidinger, or Meidinger, or Meidinger. Either way, you'll see Wade catch up to the number 46 machine. Here comes the number 46. He'll stay to the high side, and your leaders will just blitz right by.
Yeah, unfortunately, Bryce was involved in that last caution. Sent hard into the outside wall, so I'm pretty sure that car's got a lot of damage, but he's just trying to hang in there, get as many points as he can, and just try to finish this RLM TV event.
Well, we've got a nice long green flag look to this one. Now wait for the crash. Nope, nothing. Excellent. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We'll try to get you back in time for pit stops, as they're only going to have one if this thing stays green, and it looks like it may. So we'll take a quick break. We'll come back with more of the TT Racing League Pepsi Grand National Series season finale. You get it live on RLM TV.
Running a racing league is hard. Maybe not as hard as making it through the third turn at Darlington, but still hard. Unless you have Race LM on your side. Race LM provides top-notch racing servers, league management tools, car file managers, stat tracking, simple scheduling, and tons of other helpful features, all with 24/7 technical assistance that can't be beat. Head to www.racelm.com today and make your league the best.
Hi.
Hey.
Ready, set, lick. Double stuff Oreo. There's a Craftsman.
Well, I guess it's Mr. Man from now on, huh? You know, an event like this deserves something truly special.
It's now the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series.
Welcome back to RLM TV's coverage of the Pepsi Grand National Series, race number 12, and the final race for the championship at Talladega Motor Speedway. Just completed lap 29 of 57. Actually, just getting ready to complete lap 29 of 57. Wade Dinger still in the lead in that 74 car, followed by the 23 of Peter Falk. John Freeman in that 57 car was third. 016 of Ron Larkin Sr. is fourth. Dwayne Parker in that 02 is fifth. Don Johnson in the 63, sixth. Bill and Will Witt, sixth and seventh and eighth. Wayne Dinger, our points leader, is ninth, and rounding out the top 10 is the number 6 of Doug Sigmund. Scored a lap down. Also, Bryce Draham also scored a lap down and back in the 11th spot. Bob Preston, Jay Adair, Wayne Settle, and Rusty Grant all retired early from the even. Unfortunate for those guys to have to pull over early, Daryl. Seems Daryl might have got stuck down at the snack bar here. So far, pretty much no action out on the track. These guys are all single file. Just as I say that, the 02, Dwayne Parker, trouble on the track. Gets into the 72, I believe it was, and Wayne might.
And a Larkin was involved in that one too. Unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be Larkin getting a majority of the damage. And tough break as Dwayne Parker has contact with Ron Larkin Sr. Parker trying to go up the inside on Larkin. Those two come together. They both spin down towards the infield. And then we collect the number 63 machine who fights and battles and somehow saves that machine. Good piece of driving from Don Johnson to save that machine. Unfortunately, Ron Larkin Sr., not so lucky. Larkin has some damage to that 016.
Yeah, I tell you what, Daryl, I'm not real sure what Parker was thinking there. I know he was trying to take a look on the inside of Larkin, but I believe he realized he might have had his left side tires below the yellow line and came back up just a little bit, and unfortunately Larkin was there. And like I said, Larkin's going to get the brunt of it. But I'll tell you what, Don Johnson there, that was one heck of a piece of driving from that guy. And knowing Don like I do, man, I'll tell you what, driving with only one eye, that guy sure can get her done. And Don, if you're listening, I kid because I can.
The only reason you're picking on him is because he doesn't have a microphone in his hand and he can't battle back. But we're going to change that here in just 1 second if we can make sure that he's not on pit road. We don't want to interfere with these drivers making an effort to pit stop. Once he's able to make that pit stop, if he does, and I think this will be a perfect time to make that final pit stop, by the way, if you ask me, especially where he had to slide those tires as much to gather it back up. Once he makes those pit stops, we'll try to talk to Don Johnson, who made a fantastic save here.
Yeah, he'll sure be one guy that'll be a good interview there. Like I said, I've raced with Don the past couple of years, and he's a veteran here to the Pepsi Grand National Series. Been here since its inception 6 years ago, and just a great guy and a very funny guy to talk to.
We'll look forward to talking to him right now. Don heading down pit road. We'll let Don get onto pit road before we distract him with our lovely voices, as after all, we've been known to be sirens from time to time, and we don't want to distract Don as he has to pull into his pit stall. It looks like it's going to be a 4-tire change for Don, and that makes sense when you think about it. After all, I think if nothing else, he has flat spotted those tires, or at least worn them down to the point that he needs to change all 4 tires, give up that track position, change the 4 tires. At least then you'll have something to maybe work with in a little bit. With Don Johnson, driver of the number 63 machine. Don Johnson, this is Daryl and my buddy Neil Armstrong in the RLM TV booth. You got us?
Yeah, right, Neil.
Well, Don, fantastic save, but something tells me you lost 4 pounds and sit about 2 inches higher in the seat now.
Yeah, well, not really. Sitting drinking my beer, I didn't even notice.
Didn't even spill a drop of suds, did you, my friend?
Hey, spilling beer is worse than spilling milk.
You'd rather spill your blood than spill your beer. What's the strategy for the remainder of this race? Our resources tell us that you more than likely have enough fuel to go the distance now, do you?
Well, I'm just going to try to stay out of trouble. That's my main thing, is every time I get in these races and that, and just try to stay out of trouble, try to keep my car in one piece, and try to be around at the end without any parts missing.
Can you confirm for us if you have enough fuel to go the distance, or will you need one more stop?
I'm not going to tell you because you tell everybody else.
Damn it, there goes the bulletin we were going to send out. Either way, we're going to wish you the best of luck, buddy, and even though you're a Packers fan, try to get that car towards the front. Something with green and yellow has to finish in first place at some point, right?
Hey, I'll tell you what, I've been a Packer fan for 69 years, so don't badmouth the Packers.
I know better than to badmouth the Packers, especially to a cheesehead. Now, do you officially consider yourself a cheesehead?
I officially have a cheese head. I have a cheese cowboy hat. I have cheese cup holders. I've got Packer banners. I was born in 1939 in Wisconsin, so I am Packer backer fully.
There you go, a Packer backer, which is a lot different than a Packer packer. Either way, we're going to wish you the best of luck, Don, and get to the front, try to win this thing, and if not, go Niners, right, buddy?
No, if you're going to go that way, I'm out here in Oregon, so I got to go Seahawks.
Oh, goodness gracious. All right, Tom, we're going to put you back down on the off. It's almost time to punch the clock and go back to work, buddy.
Okay, good.
That's Don Johnson, lifelong Packers fan, even though he's in Oregon right now. Go figure. As Seahawks. My God. Who the hell roots for the Seahawks? The Seahawks don't root for the Seahawks.
Are they even still a football team?
No, the real question, Neil, is were they ever a football team? And the answer to that is no. Well, for a little while they were. For about a year or two there, when they had Mr. Jerry Rice on the roster, I considered them a football team.
Well, you know me, I'm not much of a football fan. I get my wife out here, and she'll tell you anything you want to know about football. Give her a beer in one hand and a remote control in the other, and she's happy on Sunday.
Well, is she kicking back right now, watching the college football game?
Actually, she's in there drooling over. She bought her a new car today, so she's in there drooling over a new car. She hadn't had a new car in 20 years, so this is her second new car of her lifetime, and I'll tell you what, she's thrilled about it. I'm not too thrilled about it. I got a car payment again. Hadn't had a car payment in 2 years.
Well, you know what? She deserves a new car. She didn't blow up the old one for nothing, damn it.
Yeah, you got that right. I think I'm about to go out and blow up my truck tomorrow to see if I can get me a new truck.
Then you got 2 car payments. Either way, the wife sounds like a wonderful person and a patient lady, too, to put up with you and your sim racing and your announcing and everything else. I know that my wife is extremely patient, and she's a pretty darn good gal as well. I couldn't hope for a better woman than the one that I was fortunate enough to have agree to take my last name and spend the rest of her life with me, or until she gets sick of me and casts me aside. Either way, I'll enjoy it while I've got it. Much like that new car, Neil. Enjoy it while you got it, because eventually the bank's going to go, wait a minute, Armstrong? That dude's broke. He can't afford this.
Yeah, that's how it always is. But I'll tell you what, if you're a sim racer and you don't want at one point or another thank your wife, I'm sure you're going to be in the doghouse. I know a lot of sim racers out there. We got the passion for this game, and a lot of times we spend more time. I'm sorry, I said game again. We spend more time with this sim than we do with our better halves, and kind of makes for some rough moments on the weekends. But hey, you know what? Sometimes they learn to live with it.
And they truly are the better half. And that's just the way it is. Although some of the ladies have taken a liking to sim racing in the not too distant past, and there's still some of the ladies out there involved in sim racing. I'd like to see more ladies involved in sim racing personally. I, for one, would gladly give up my seat behind the wheel for my wife if she wanted to race in a league. After all, she's got to do better than me.
Oh yeah, a lot of sim racers out there that are women, and they're actually, I believe there is one active here, a husband and wife team, and a few years back, the Burliers, Brian and Tina Burlier, a couple of sim racers. Actually, I still see them around. They used to race here at TT Racing a few years back, and great couple, and it's always fun to race a husband and wife team. Even more fun when the wife's better than the husband.
And even though it would pain Brian to admit it, he would admit it. Tina is the better racer of the two. Green flag flies. We'll see who the better racer on the racetrack remaining is, as the green flag flies. Wade Mettinger is your race leader. Peter Fox sits in second and still right there running a solid third is John Freeman. And I think John's in that mode right now that he's happy where he is, at least for the time being, but he knows at some point he's going to have to split that team up of Peter Fox and Wade Mettinger, and he's going to need some help to do it. I think if he looks in his rearview mirror, he'll be pretty darn happy to see Bill Witt coming up on the back bumper.
Oh, yeah, it'd be good to see Bill get himself back up there in the top 5. I believe I don't know if he got a speeding penalty on pit road under that second caution, but he dropped back to the field and just kind of had a hard time getting himself back up there. But I'll tell you what, that 23 of Peter Fox doing what he has to do to win this championship. If the race were to end right now, he would be our PGN Thursday night Grand National Series champion, as he's only 15 points behind Wayne Mettinger, currently back in the 6th spot. So definitely doing what he has to do to win this championship.
Doing what he needs to do to win the title, and that's stay in contact with these drivers. As you know, it's all about consistency. It's not necessarily about winning race after race after race after race. It comes down to consistency, and I think that's going to be the key to the championship here tonight. And I think Wayne, as long as he stays in contact with Peter Fox, I think he'll be in decent shape. But Peter only 15 points behind Wayne. You got to wonder if Wade is going to allow Peter to get by him for a shot at the championship.
I don't think Wade's going to allow him to get by him. You never just let a guy by here. We're getting real close to the end. We got less than 20 laps to go, and it's I thought one thing you might watch Wade do, though, you might see him drop back and try to pick up his brother, because that's really the only chance that Wayne's got to get up there. He needs some help from his brother. Looks like Don Johnson's giving sorry, Darryl.
Johnson, yeah, exactly. We'll go to the high side, Neil, as Johnson's going to go to the high side, try to give Wayne a little bit of assistance getting to the front. And sometimes that's one of the keys in a super speedway race. Find a guy that needs to get to the front and attach yourself to him. If he's going to the front, make him take you with him.
Yeah, another guy we haven't talked about all night is back there in the 8th position in that 6 car, Doug Sigmund. You recognize that old throwback Roses paint scheme? You know who that's from? Oh, trouble on the track. Backstretch. 2 cars. Don Johnson in the 63 involved. Looks like also the 02 of Dwayne Parker once again involved in another accident here. Trying to figure out what happened real quick. Now, it looks as though, Darryl, these guys just kind of came down on each other and bumped doors, and unfortunately sent 02 of Parker into the inside wall and sent the 63 of Don Johnson into the outside car wall. And tell you what, it looks like that Mettinger in the 72 car might have got a little piece of that.
Perhaps a little. He just needs to keep that car clean and survive. We're going to have less than 20 laps to go. So Wayne is going to have his work cut out for him right now, showing in the 6th position. I think Wayne needs to try to start working that high groove.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, he did a heck of a job to get those brakes locked up and not getting damage to that front end. But in the process, he got a little right side damage there as he got into the wall. So, they're running realistic damage here. So hopefully that crew can get that car fixed and get him back out on the track, and he'll be up to speed. This could get interesting here.
It's going to get real interesting here for the last... that's all right. You know what? I'm married. I'm used to being stepped on. It's not a big deal, my friend. It's going to get real... Plus, I worked with Hollywood Savants for a while, so... Go figure. It's going to get real interesting for the last, 15 laps or so, because we're going to have just about 15 to go when the green drops.
Yeah, what I was going to say, it's going to get real interesting here as you see cars faking to get down on pit road. The guys really don't have to stop Tires aren't an issue. Fuel's not an issue right now. So if you get out on pit road, really not gaining anything. So
Let me ask
anyway,
you this, Neil, from the driver's standpoint, they've often said, a full load of fuel at a super speedway drops the back end of the car down just a little bit more, gets that rear spoiler out of the air just a little bit more. If you're running towards the back of the pack, why not make a swing down pit road, top off with fuel, and put some extra weight in the back of that car?
I don't know if that applies so much here in the sim racing world. I may be wrong, Daryl, but I don't know. Now, I'll get back to that 6 car. Do you recognize that old Rose's throwback paint scheme?
Oh, I'll have to take a real good look at it. More than likely I won't, but let's see if we can't get a good look at this old paint scheme. No, I don't. I don't recognize the paint scheme, especially on a Cobalt.
I believe it was Tommy Houston back in the 80s used to run in the Grand National Series. And the reason I know that, because that's one of my magazines right beside my my toilet.
Ah, pooper reading. Well, go figure. At least you're reading, and that's the important thing, because reading is fundamental, as we've often been told, at least if you believe Saturday morning cartoons. And I, my friend, do believe Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh, man, used to love to watch Saturday morning cartoons when I was younger. I'm just a bill sitting on Capitol Hill.
It's the only reason I agreed to have kids is so I could watch cartoons again.
Well, my daughter, she was more into the
lawn.
Yeah, see, I had a daughter. She won't go out there and mow the grass for me, but she sure will. She does a good job washing the dishes and vacuuming the house.
See, my daughter will go out and mow the lawn. My son will do the dishes and vacuum the house. So go figure. We've got a little role reversal going on here, but I say, what the heck? It's 2008, and as long as the chores get done and Daddy doesn't have to do them, it's all good.
Yeah, you're exactly right. As long as Daddy don't have to do them. See if we can't pull ourselves up another driver here. We're going to try to catch up with the number 53 of Bill Witt, the PGN Thursday night admin here. Bill Witt, Neil Armstrong, Daryl Morley up in the booth. You got a copy, buddy?
Yeah, 10-4, guys.
I'll tell you what, man, real good to see you get that pole here tonight. Think you're going to be able to get back up there and pull off a win?
Well, I got my, talking to my son here. He's behind me. We're talking strategy as we speak, so we're trying to cook something up here.
Well, yeah, that's right. You got your 17-year-old son out there. How's that feel to be out there actually racing with your son?
It's great if I'm ahead of him.
I've seen your son race, and he's a class act driver, and I'm sure one of these days he's going to be able to outdo you. But you're looking good in that number 53 Fastenal Dodge. I tell you what, it was a great pole. And I tell you, the PGN Series has been one of the longest series here at TT Racing, and you've got to be pretty proud of that.
Yeah, we started up in 2003 and never missed a week. We've never, we've had a couple of server hiccups, but yeah, that's trying to pride yourself on longevity and having something consistent. I've had some guys stick with me for a long time, and we put this RLM TV race tonight to honor all the guys in the PGN Series who stuck with us and put on a good show every week.
Well, that was my next question. You've seen drivers come and go, and you got one driver that's been with you since it started, that number 63 of Don Johnson. we got a chance to talk to him under that last caution. And I'll tell you what, he is definitely a character.
Yeah, he's one of the good guys out here.
You know, I've been racing with you guys for a couple of years, and I'll tell you what, I enjoy racing here on Thursday nights when I am able to make it. You're a class act bunch of guys, and got anybody out there you want to give a shout out to real quick?
Yeah, everybody with TT Racing who's out there watching, and thanks to you guys for making TT Racing what it is. And hopefully we can have some more of these events that you guys do a heck of a job with them, and we really like working with Darrell on TV.
Well, we look forward to seeing more of the Thursday night Pepsi Grand National Series here on RLM TV. There you have it. Bill Witt scored currently in the 4th spot, our pole sitter tonight, trying to get back up there and get himself a race win, the last race win of the season.
And, you know, he mentioned that he was trying to work up a plan with his son. His son is Will Witt. Will is 17 years old. Bill is more than 17 years old. We're not going to give you Bill's age, but it rhymes with smucking old. We're not going to give you his age, but, you know, it's so important at a track like this to be able to have a teammate. You like how I made that rhyme, huh, Neil?
You're getting almost as good as me.
I am the original sim racing poet. Don't you ever forget that, my friend. As we get set for the return to green flag racing in this one, pace lights are indeed out. Wade Mettinger, as he has been for so long, sits in the front of this field. Peter Fox sits second. Third is John Freeman, and we are going to have a 14-lap shootout here in the end.
Hey, I'll tell you what, Darrell, this should get pretty exciting here.
It's going to get real exciting. Let's not forget, we'll talk to the top 3 in post-race. So you may hear from Wade, Peter, and John, but you may hear from Bill, you may hear from Doug. There's a whole bunch of drivers that want to be in the top 3. Green flag flies. We're back underway here in this one. In your top 3, as we were just mentioning, break away from the field. It looks like Bill Witt may have still been talking to Will Witt and might have dropped the ball just a little bit.
Yeah, I think actually the 57 car of John Freeman laid back just a little bit to try to get a good run and maybe try to make a pass on these guys to no avail. I think he's going to hit a brick wall here and not have any help to attempt to pass. But that's going to definitely give the advantage, though, to Bill Witt once these cars get back up to speed, as he's going to have a good run here and get a couple of them guys to go with him and try to make a move on the outside. That outside line definitely works. Hadn't seen anybody venture up there tonight to take a chance.
Haven't seen a lot of success up on the high side so far here tonight. We'll see if Bill Witt in the Fastenal machine goes up to the high side. Indeed, he does not. Doug Sigmund stays down on the inside with him in that Chevy Cobalt. Kind of neat to see the different manufacturers and the different models out here in the sim racing world. Don't see a lot of Cobalts in the actual NASCAR physical world, but you see them out here. You see BMWs, you see everything. As a matter of fact, the first place a Toyota raced against Illumina at Daytona, well, that was right here in the sim racing world.
I'll tell you what, the 72 of Wayne Dinger, I think he's got a little bit of damage from that last caution there. He's dropped back now to 1.5 seconds behind our leader and still losing time. So he's in jeopardy, Darrell, losing this championship.
He indeed is, because Peter Fox needs 15 points. And if Wayne is severely damaged, he's going to be back there battling with Ron Larkin Sr. and Bruce Straheim. And neither one of those can give him the help that he needs to get up towards the front. He's now 2 seconds back. Dwayne Parker could be Wayne's best friend if Dwayne doesn't jump out and pass him. Right now, Wayne is hoping that his brother Wade can hold on for the win, and that maybe, just maybe, even though he's a teammate and a friend, maybe Peter Fox runs into some negative luck.
I don't know. Could be, but I'll tell you what, one dude that's just got hooked up is the 53 or 35 of Will Witt. Just got by the 6 of Doug Sigmund to pick up the 5th spot, and that'll put him right behind his dad. Look for those two guys to start making a move here.
And you get these family members hooked up, and it's almost like you don't really have to communicate. All you have to do is just get out there and do what you need to do. And The other nice thing is if you happen to live in the same house, and a lot of these drivers don't, but sometimes if you can race in the same house, and especially if you can race in the same room, obviously you don't have to worry about setting up whisper keys on TeamSpeak. All you've got to do is just turn to the person next to you and say, hey, let's go to the high school. Let's take these boys to school.
Oh, yeah, that always helps when you're racing in the same room. I remember years ago, my good buddy, I won't mention his name. Oh, yellow flag out of the track. Yellow flag number 4 of the evening. Looks like, let's see, I'm trying to figure out who it is, Daryl. Looks like it might have. Yeah, I was going to say, it looks like the 02 of Dwayne Parker may have blown his engine. Yep, looks like definitely got black smoke puffing out of the back of that car. So that'll end the evening for the 02 of Dwayne Parker. That'll end his championship hopes, as he was currently third, 32 points behind our points leader, Wayne Meidinger. So that's going to end his chances of bringing home this PGN championship tonight. All right, Daryl, do you pit or not pit?
Sorry about that, Neil. I just had a complete lockup on my end. I think what we need to do is take a quick break. We'll come back. Less than 10 to go here in TT Racing League's Pepsi Grand National Series season finale. You got it live. Don't go away. We're coming right back on RLM TV.
Hi. I'm a big fan, Michael. Big fan of Napa parts, too. I collect die-cast race cars and customize them to make them look more authentic. I've got a couple for you to sign. It's your Fontana car. Yeah. Remember when you had that big fire?
Yes, I remember.
I also have your 90 Bristol car. Oh. You could just sign one of the bigger pieces. Whew, what a wreck.
Delivery.
Give me a shot if anybody comes in.
You got it.
Bud Light, the mother load. Hey, here he comes. Hide. Did you hear something?
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down.
Bartender, 20 Bud Lights. Oh, no.
Make it a Bud Light.
Are you ready? Wow! Go! Wow! Are you ready? I can't do this. Go! No way! Not even for some Bud Light?
Fresh, smooth, real Bud Light.
See you, dude! Wait!
It's
Wow, we got all state safe driving bonus checks.
I'm thinking spa.
I'm thinking sponsorship opportunity.
Anything else?
I said, can I get you ladies anything else?
I think we're satisfied.
Introducing the Allstate Safe Driving Bonus Check. Earn it by driving safe for 6 months. Spend it however you want. Are you in good hands?
Who are you guys?
Matt Anderson, Phil Rose.
Coke brand. People don't understand that Coke Zero infringed on our taste.
We can't have Coke Zero in the winner's circle being hoisted for that traditional drink.
Would you be willing to throw a race?
I don't think so.
Let's back off the word throw. What if you enjoyed the track for longer than the other competitors?
Yeah. Nobody will really associate Coke Zero with Victory Lane. Probably get us suspended. Well, Tony, come on. You're pretty comfortable with that.
Da, 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 da.
Welcome back here on RLM TV as we are getting closer to the drop of the green flag, and Wayne Meidinger is getting closer to losing his championship here tonight.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's going to be a heartbreaker, as he's pretty much been the points leader over half the season. You look at his stats and just, some awesome stats that he's got. Jason Cox, really the guy who's been dominating, but Wayne Dinger has been the most consistent. So 7 top 5s, 10 top 10s in 11 starts. That's pretty impressive there.
Well, it's very impressive, Neil. And, one of the things that Wayne has prided himself on is being up towards the front. I don't think he's going to be getting the top 5 here tonight. I think his car is sporting just a little bit too much damage to have a shot at the top 5, and that might take that title away and hand it to Peter Fox, who, oddly enough, is his teammate, but still, you'd rather have it for yourself. If it can't be you, you want it to be a teammate, but, obviously, you want it first.
Yeah, don't forget about the 74. He's doing what he has to do. He's 55 points behind our leader. Only 17 points behind, let's see, wait a minute. He's 23 points behind the third place, Dwayne Parker. Unfortunately, he's out of the race for tonight. So he's doing what he has to do. He's got to have some help from the 23 car, Peter Fox, to really get up here and gain up enough points so he can win a championship.
You never want to be in a situation like you've been either, Neil. You don't want to be in a situation that you're relying on somebody else to get you that title. You want to be able to have it all in your own hands. And unfortunately, at a track like this, and again, not a shot at anybody out there, but I get upset when people say, okay, we're going to settle our championship at Daytona or Talladega or another super speedway, because it takes so much out of the driver's hands. I'd rather settle a championship at a place like Atlanta, where I suck, or Texas, where I suck, or Lowe's, where I suck, or California, where I suck, because those are drivers' tracks. To me, this is just put your foot to the floor and pray to God you don't get wrecked.
I don't know, dude. I disagree with you on that. It takes a little bit of talent to get around this 2.66 mile high bank tri-oval. Might not take a lot of talent, but I'll tell you what, if you're up there in the lead, you got to be able to watch in front of you, and you also got to be able to watch your mirror and know the moves to make to block that guy behind you.
Well, I agree it does take a little bit of skill, and unfortunately that's what it takes, is a little bit of skill to get around this track, and it's unfortunate because we're not able to see the true skills of guys like Wade and Wayne Mettinger, Peter Fox, John Freeman, Bill and Will Witt, Doug Sigmund, Ron Larkin Sr., Bruce Straheim, Dwayne Parker, Bob Preston, Jay Adair, Wayne Settle, or Rusty Grant, because it only takes a little bit of skill to get around this place. Now the real skill comes into play about 4 laps from now, when it starts to get down to the nitty-gritty, when there's only a few laps left to go, and you've got to start pushing and shoving and making your way through. The real skill is being able to hold on to your car. The real skill is shown when Don Johnson is able to save that machine in the way he did, which to me was completely spectacular, and that, in my opinion, was the moment of the night.
Yeah, no, I mean, what's more spectacular is he did it with little or no effort at all. As we heard him say in his interview, he was just drinking a nice cold beverage and didn't even realize it happened.
I think that was more sarcasm than anything else, but absolutely, he's one cool customer, to say the least. Well, pace car pulls in, and Neilio, you race with these boys. Why don't you take us back to green?
Yeah, just a minute ago you said wait till 4 laps to go, and you got to make the right moves. I'll tell you what, Darrell, why wait 4 laps to go? Pace car is down pit road, takes that hard left. Green flag's out once again. 5 laps to go here to decide who's going to be the PGN Grand National Champion. Wayne Meidinger there in the 74 car gets a good restart, but here at Talladega, that could be a disadvantage, Darrell.
It could be a huge disadvantage. You don't want to get that far away from the field, because they will gather up and they will chew you up. They will gobble you down like so much Christmas ham. That's right, we have ham in my house. We don't eat turkey on Christmas time. Damn it, we just had it a month earlier for Thanksgiving. It's too much turkey, too much tryptophan.
But I think the one advantage that the 74 got is he's got his teammate behind him, the 23 of Fox. As Fox taking a look on the outside, coming out of turn 4, has got help from the 57 of John Freeman. As he can't quite get up
Fox
the
has
side.
dropped back in line. As Fox drops back in line, can't get up beside the number 74 machine, as you were saying, Neil, but at least now it's in the mind of Wade Meidinger that maybe, just maybe, Peter Fox will go to the high side, and if he does, it looks like John Freeman may be tempted to go with him.
Yeah, I tell you what, these last few laps of Talladega, it's a lot of mind games. You keep you get a guy, you keep going to the outside, and you make him think that you're going to the outside, and you make that move, he tries to block you, then you swing to the inside. I've done that before.
Doesn't beat my mind game, Neil. My mind game is I'll get a guy, he thinks I'm in contention, then I bounce my own car off the wall, burst it into flames, black smoke comes pouring out of the back of the machine, and I lull them into a real sense of security. That's my strategy at a place like this. It hasn't paid off for a win yet, but it's coming, buddy. It's coming.
I hear you. You got 3 laps to go here. Wade Dinger, 74 car, still out front, followed by the 23 of Peter Fox. Everybody's still pretty much single file. One guy on the outside, number 6 is Sigmund in that Roses machine. No
and
help
look
on
who's
the
at the
outside
tail
there.
of this drafting group. The tail of the drafting group is now Wayne Meidinger, as Meidinger is the caboose, so to speak, although now Sigmund will drop in behind Meidinger, look back to the outside once again, may have to try to find some drafting help towards the back, and why not have it be Wayne Meidinger, as Wayne needs to pick up a few positions, especially knowing where Peter Fox and Wade Meidinger sit in points. Wade is 4th in points, 55 points out of the top spot. It's not going to be Dwayne Parker. Dwayne Parker will not take the championship. He is out of this one. Could it be Wade? Could it be Peter Fox? One never knows. One thing is certain. If Wayne has anything to say about it, it won't be either one of them. It'll be Wayne.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, he's got to make up a couple more positions here just to really secure his championship. Right now, if my calculations are correct, depending on whether he led a lap tonight or Fox led a lap, but I'm saying they didn't. He could lose his championship by only 5 points, maybe 7.
Want to see what he can do with 2 laps remaining here on the racetrack. 2 laps remain between now and victory lane. 2 laps between now and crowning a champion for the 2008 season of the TT Racing Pepsi Grand National Series. And 2 laps, Neil, that's not a lot of time.
No, definitely. As our top 7's pretty much nose to tail, as Wayne Meidinger back there in the 6th spot takes a look on the outside of Will Witt. Got a little help from the 6th car.
A lot of help from the 6th car now as they'll try to work around. I believe that it's going to be Sigmund and Meidinger trying to work around Will Witt. Will Witt will have to make a decision on what he wants to do in conjunction with his father, Bill Witt. White flag, last trip around the racetrack. Wayne Meidinger trying to take home a championship. Wade trying to wrestle it from his grip, but I think it's going to come down to between Peter Fox, 15 points back, winner of the most recent race, and Wayne Meidinger. Wade might be able to get 2nd in points. Only time will tell. Don't forget about John Freeman sitting 3rd in the race now as Peter Fox drops back, trying to build up a run, trying to get that run going, build that momentum, try to get any advantage he can to be coming out of turn number 4. It looks like he's got it lined up almost perfect. Peter Fox will look to the high side. Freeman will go up to the top with him. Freeman now looks down to the inside. Freeman down onto the apron. Freeman now back up behind the number 74 machine. They're 3 wide. The 74 machine takes home the win. Peter Fox takes home 2nd. John Freeman takes home 3rd. And you could have sneezed and missed the entire field coming across the start-finish line. What a finish for Wade Meidinger, Peter Fox, and John Freeman.
Man, I tell you what, Darryl, that was one exciting finish there. As you saw that John Freeman actually get down below the yellow line. I believe that would have been illegal if he would have completed a pass, but he wisely got back up on the track. But I tell you what, that was an exciting finish.
It was a thrilling finish, to say the least. Wade Meidinger takes home the win. Peter Fox takes home second spot. Wayne Meidinger, by the way, sixth position, looking for a championship. The Witts, Bill Witt and Will Witt, come home fourth and fifth. John Freeman with a solid third-place run, and it didn't look like anybody was willing to work with John Freeman, who was pretty much on an island, and he still got the job done. Wade Meidinger will light the tires up just a little bit here on the front stretch of Talladega Superspeedway. We'll go ahead, take a break. We'll talk to your top three, Wade, Peter, and John, when we come back here on RLM TV.
Of course Geico sponsors Mike's Race Car because they insure everything race car fans love. RVs, motorcycles, ATVs. Tell you one thing they can insure. Lauren Wallace. Because Lauren Wallace is made of lightning. Those guys are like, hey, where's Lauren? He was just here a minute ago. I'm 100 miles away, son. Ready to strike.
Geico, saving you money on insurance for your car and the other stuff that moves you.
Tonight on Robo Bash, we got five-time world champion and Victor. And in this corner, Mini Fridge.
Todd, what is it?
It's a Bud Light.
Lock on.
With a great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light.
Oh, no mercy!
DLP technology from Texas Instruments powers the ultimate HD TV picture and racing's newest team. Our high-definition chip uses millions of tiny mirrors to deliver a razor-sharp picture that's so lifelike, so real. You're there.
Hey, that's our car!
Go see the difference DLP technology can make in your new TV.
Just couldn't wait, could you?
DLP, only from Texas Instruments. It doesn't get any more real than this.
The square table. As a culture, do we want to be remembered for this?
It's hilarious. People laugh because it's moronic, not because it's funny.
This is man law, not caveman law.
Hey, have you done it? No? Then you don't know what you're talking about. Crushing beer cans on your forehead is wrong.
Triple H is right. Cans ain't as thick as they once were. I mean, back in the day, you crush a can on your forehead, you were saying something. But now?
It's lame. You're right. You're right.
Man law? Man law.
The great taste of Miller Lite. Always a good call.
Atlanta, March 20th, 2005. Carl Edwards led with 30 laps to go. Jimmy Johnson made a daring move to the outside. Your wife wanted a picture with her cousin, Wendy. Carl Edwards regained the lead. Wendy bought a pair of ridiculous sunglasses. They gave her the raccoon eyes. And Carl Edwards walked away the victor.
Welcome back here on RLM TV. You've just seen it all go down as the season finale, as I'm trying to get everything all organized here on my end. The season finale has just wrapped up. Wade Meidinger will take home the race win, but who takes home the championship? We do not know yet. What we do know is our very own Neil Armstrong has tracked down Wade Meidinger, your race winner.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Thank you, Darryl. I've caught up with the 74 as he climbs out of his car, gets showered with Gatorade, and I tell you what, Wade, that was pretty dominating performance out there. He started 7th, led the most laps, 44 laps at that. Man, I tell you what, you got to be excited right now.
I tell you, I had to get the paper bag out after that just to get the heart rate down.
Yeah, I tell you, I race over here with you guys, and you and your brother Wayne, you're class act drivers, and anytime you guys are out on the track, you're a threat to win. Got to be a little disappointed, and, well, not disappointed yet, about your brother. He may have lost his championship by, less than 10 points.
Yeah, actually, I think they tied for the point, so I don't know what's going to go on there. But I was not letting Peter, who was in second there, get a lap lead, because then he would have won the championship for sure. So I was just trying to keep him behind me.
Well, all in all, though, it was a pretty decent race. Pretty much what you saw out there.
Yeah, I wish it would have gone more green and made it a pit stop race, but you know, my car was good out front. She was real nice to handle. It didn't push or nothing.
Well, tell us who makes it happen in that 74 camp. I know you got some sponsors, teammates, or family members you'd like to give a shout-out to.
You betcha. I'd like to say this is Team Extreme, 74 Wade and 72 Wayne and Peter, the number 23. And my mom and dad are watching this race. Hi, Mom and Dad, and my sister, and I think Donna's watching too, and my friend Eldon. Got lots of people watching. I'd like to thank everybody out there for supporting me.
Well, there you have it. Number 74, Wade Meidinger. We call the boys Dinger around here, and I'll tell you what, he's a class act driver, got a lot of talent, and you're sure going to see more of him in Victory Lane, Darrell.
I believe we will. Another guy that we'll probably see in Victory Lane from time to time is the one, Peter Fox, who struggled to try to lead a lap because he knew leading a lap might be the difference between first and second in the championship. As it sits unofficially, Peter, we've got you tied for the title between yourself and Wayne Meidinger, so we're not quite sure what's going to happen there. Either way, nice, solid finish. You had to fight for that second spot because Freeman, he was coming up quick up the gut.
You know how it is. You got your teammate, and he says he's going to help you, and then you go for it, and he tries to win himself. But it's all good.
Well, you know what? I think that this is one of those blood is thicker than water deals. I think Wade was trying to protect that championship for Wayne. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But you know what? All three of us on the team, we work together all the time. I'm happy for Wayne. We were discussing it. I have a couple of provisionals this year, and he has more top tens, so tying the points, but he's the championship.
Well, there you go. So according to Peter Fox, the championship will belong to Wayne. We'll double-check with Bill Witt, and I believe Bill will more than likely confirm that. Either way, Peter, you did a great job out there. You put your car where you needed to put it. You didn't take any unnecessary risks out there. It was a championship run, to say the least, and I think we can officially call this the closest championship chase that the Pepsi Grand National Series has ever seen.
Absolutely. You know, all these guys are great racers, so it was definitely fun and definitely close.
Well, tell us about the people that help you out and make sure you get to go racing whenever you want here in TT Racing.
You know, mostly Bill Witt, because he runs the TT Racing. He makes sure we keep going. But we got some great admins. You know, we got the 4 series going Thursday nights, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights. A lot of good drivers. Everybody's welcome to come and join us.
And again, you can get to those websites, ttracing.com and ttgrandnational.com as well. That's Peter Fox, finishes second place here and potentially in the championship. We'll have to wait and see exactly what happens with that championship. Neil Armstrong, you have tracked down a New Year's baby. By the way, born on New Year's Day, Mr. John Freeman.
Thank you, Darrell. John climbs out of the 57 machine and takes a cool drink of his beverage of choice. And I'll tell you what, John, pretty good showing for your first PGN race.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I had a great time. The John Freeman Racing, Freeman's car stereo machine ran great today. Wish we could have thread that needle there at the end. That was a wild one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it definitely was. We saw you go below the yellow line there and wisely came back up. But kind of steer away from your sim racing here tonight. Tell us a little bit about your website at johnfreemanracing.net.
Oh, yeah. That's a kind of website I got put together to follow this racing we do on the real side of life, and you know, just trying to promote that a little bit and move on up the rank.
You're an up-and-coming driver. You're 20 years old, and you got your lifetime stats here. And I'll tell you what, they're pretty impressive. And you know, anybody out there that's listening to us, if you want to go check John out, you can visit www.johnfreemanracing.net. And I'll tell you what, it's pretty easy to navigate yourself around. And your last race at the Moroso Motorsports Park, 24 Hours of America, two-driver team victorious in that 24-hour event back in January. Last race that you've been in, you still got to be pretty thrilled about that race.
Oh yeah, that was a great one. We were the first ever two-man team to run an entire 24. They told us we were pretty crazy. And after the race, we felt pretty crazy, but we had a great time. But I got to say, this is about my 12th ever online race in anything, and it gets your nerves going almost like the real thing. I mean, I get all shaking and get all up on the wheel sitting here.
Well, compare the two to the real life racing and the sim racing.
Well, originally, Dale Earnhardt Jr. got me into using this program to really learn tracks, and when I got moved up into the Busch East, formerly Busch North, currently Camping World East, when I got moved up into that series, I had to learn a lot of new tracks really fast. So I got hooked up on this program, actually spent probably 10 to 12 hours learning Dover, never seeing the place, and we went up there and set the track record, and I can solely say it's running these programs that really help. And then the online racing is so competitive, I get my heart coming out of my chest.
Well, I know you can't say much about it, but I was speaking to you before the race and got a chance maybe to have a nationwide race, a ride before the end of the year.
Yeah, we've been working on it all year. We had a couple deals put together that just fell short right at the last minute. We're still kind of hopeful to catch one of the last two or last three. If we're not lucky enough to grab that, then we definitely have a strong season looking up for 2009.
Well, tell us who makes it happen in that 57 camp. I know you got some sponsors, teammates, or some family members you want to give a shout-out to.
Well, definitely. I got to give all my driving to my mom and dad, but the JohnFreemanRacing.com and Freeman Stereo Video, and got to give it up for Peter and both those dingers there. Peter really brought me into the online racing side of things and painting cars for me and everything else. Got to plug Sim Car Painting website, but Peter really helped me get in here, and they really helped me learn my wheel and learn what's going on. And I got to throw a big shout out to Peter and both the dingers.
Well, there you have it. John Freeman, an up-and-coming sim racer and an up-and-coming real-life racer. Comes from some good roots. Mom and Dad were racers, and Daryl, I'll tell you what, when you see him in a few years, interviewing him on TV, you can say you saw him first here on RLM TV.
Indeed, you can. Let's see if we can't catch a quick word with Bill Witt. Bill, this is Daryl up in the booth. You got me, buddy?
10-4, Daryl.
That's real tight, buddy. I think this is going to go down as the closest finish as far as points in the history of the Pepsi Grand National Series. Do we have a champion?
We're still working on it. Peter Fox and Wayne Meidinger finished with a dead heat tied at the end of the season. So we are frantically searching on the internet to try to find out how to resolve this tiebreaker.
Well, Peter has an idea, and you know what? Why don't we just make it alphabetical? Peter would like that.
Or we could, we could give it to the size of the country because the Dinger boys are from Canada, so maybe we just throw them a little bone.
Oh, you could give it to the guy who does the best paint jobs.
You could always do that. You know what, though, Bill? You bring up a good point. It's been a long time since Canada's won much of anything, really. I mean, let's be honest.
Exactly.
Well, here's what we're going to tell our fans then. We're going to tell our viewers to check out the website at ttgrandnational.com. That's ttgrandnational.com. That's where you will find your identity of your champion. Peter thinks it might be Wayne. Wayne thinks it might be Peter. Bill just has no clue right now, and he's trying to find a solution. And if he had a coin in his pocket, he'd be flipping it right about now. That's also the website, by the way, to go ahead and sign up for the TT Grand National Series. You can also go to ttracingleague.com and sign up for any of the TT Racing Leagues. The winter season begins on October 9th. If you want to get into this and have a shot at being the next champion in the Pepsi Grand National Series presented by TT Racing League. Like I said, they've never missed a week outside of a couple server hiccups here and there. You want to get over there and get signed up as soon as possible. And something tells you if you need a car painted up, Peter Fox might be the guy to see. For my buddy Neil Armstrong and for Brian Michael, our producer extraordinaire, pushing the buttons and making the magic happen, I am Daryl Morley. Thank you very much for tuning in and reminding you, keep it shiny side up and rubber side down, and always, always, always keep that hammer down. We'll see you next time, right here on RLM TV.